Welcome, everybody, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I am your host, Brent Daniels. And if this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome. You have stumbled upon the number one podcast when it comes to wholesaling real estate. If you are one of our loyal Rhino Tribe members that listen to every single episode, welcome back. We love you. You guys send us so many comments. You reach out to us through social media, through email, and tell us the successes that you guys are having, and we absolutely love it. That's what we do this for. This channel is about instruction. This podcast is about giving you the action items that you need to be able to be successful, and you are going out there and doing it. So congratulations. Now, I get this question all the time. Everybody wants to know, who is your TTP top guy, right? Somebody that has taken your program, implemented it into their market, into their business, and has just exploded. Well, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the number one top performer when it comes to the TTP program, and that is Mr. Brandon Barnes from Atlanta. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, man? Thanks for having me back on.
This is incredible. So we did a podcast 2 years ago.
Right.
And you were just getting going, just starting to talk to people, just developing that proactive business philosophy, right? And so take us back, because before that, I mean, you were wholesaling, you were passionate about real estate, you were doing some deals. Take us from 2 years ago to where you're at now, where you're running your business. You're pretty much hands off.
And that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, I believe at that time, I was still the only one making the cold calls.
Yep.
And then, that's tough because, at that point, I'm trying to call and follow up and do deals and put deals together, be at closing attorneys and, meeting with sellers and tenants. And it was rough.
Yeah.
I think at that point, I had maybe done $80K in just TCP cold call deals.
Yeah.
You fast forward, we're blasting through $1 million in revenue this year, and I haven't talked to anybody.
Right.
So it's amazing how quickly that turned around.
Well, and let's talk about that, because this is really important. You have people that are starting out. They hear these podcasts or the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this, make sure you go to the YouTube channel at Brent Daniels Real Estate. Check us out. You can see us. And but they take the instruction, they start using it, and they start getting deals, but taking it to the next level where you take yourself out of it, when you're actually delegating the responsibility of these daily conversations to somebody else. That's where people have some problems. So walk us through what you did from the transition. I'm making these calls every day to now I feel comfortable pushing that off to somebody else, the engine of your lead generation.
Right. Well, first off, I have to double back and thank you, because very early on, I called and said, hey, how did you get this going?
Yeah.
And the first thing that you said is, you hired people, they were American, Native Americans and able to, reach out and have really good conversations. So that's the route that I took.
Yep.
I know a lot of people use VAs, but I took that route and I stuck with it. You gave me, how to pay them, how much to pay them, where to find them, the script and everything. And again, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, it was all kind of trial and error. We went through, 6 to 8 cold callers that first year.
Yep.
I was a little hard-headed. I think you originally told me $20 an hour, and I tried to be cheap and, pay $15 an hour.
Sure.
And, exactly what you said. I saw a different caliber of the employee once I actually got going. And they were independent contractors at the time, but my team is now W-2 employees these days, and we're able to attract better quality folks. So
incredible.
It starts with that. Spending the money, investing the time, and finding people that have an employee mindset, people that are willing to learn and develop, very coachable, and then just pouring into them. And for me, it took a while to kind of hone my leadership style, but it was trial and error. You gave me the playbook, and I just took it and ran with it. I learned from my mistakes. I learned from the fires. I, started to hire a little slower and fire a little quicker. But we have now two cold callers that have been with us for over a year. One has been there for 2 years.
Awesome.
And she's a rock star.
Yeah.
She's a grinder. So, I mean, it was kind of trial and error, and then just really making sure that I placed emphasis on finding the right people and find quality people that were coachable.
So a couple things that really stuck out there. You said find people that have an employee mindset, right? And I think that this is absolutely critical when you're hiring people to make these calls for you, right? Because what happens is naturally people hear about what you're doing, right? They hear about the success that you're having. They want to be a part of it. Let me make calls for you, Brandon.
Right.
Let me make these calls for you. I want to do it. I want to start out at the bottom. I want to learn it, right? And then these people make calls for you.
Yeah.
They do good, and then they start their own business.
Right.
So you got constant turnover,
for sure,
which is fine, which is great for them, and I encourage it. But if you want to keep people long term, you want to train them and actually see the fruits of your efforts on training them. You need to keep them around a while.
For sure.
And you're saying it all comes down to what their employee mindset is, right? Or employee.
I mean, it's a season. I mean, and that could be helpful for people. There are folks that I will encourage to, partner up and find somebody that can help them if they don't have the budget to go out and spend $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Like there's a season for that, and when you're trying to get going and find somebody that just wants to help out and make calls. Yeah. But if you're really trying to turn it into a business today, you got to go find the right employees today that want to be an employee and dialed in with you for the long haul.
Yeah.
So that everything that you pour into them, you're getting back. You're getting a great return on your investment over time.
Yeah.
So we tried that. There were, a few people that came on board. I think I had somebody that sold insurance on the side.
Yeah.
I had somebody that was a personal trainer on the side. And they had different interests. They were entrepreneurial. And I found out over time, like, they just don't make the best teammates on your team over the long haul. So you got to find somebody. And personally, we've had good experience with people that are a little bit more seasoned, if you will, that come from the old school, that aren't looking to job hop. They just want a nice, consistent paycheck.
Put in their hours, get their paycheck, live their lives. Exactly. Right? Now, are you hiring people that are local? Are they in the United States? Where are these people?
Yeah, so everybody's in the United States.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. My acquisition manager, and we can get to this in a second, lives in Mexico.
I know.
But he's an expat.
Is crazy.
I know this is crazy.
Yeah.
But he's an expat. Everybody, English is their first language. Right. Because I think that
they grew up here. They live here. They're Americans living in a different country. When you say expat, expatriate, right?
So that's the acquisition manager. Our prospectors, we have one in Seattle, one in Louisville, one in Illinois, and another in San Diego.
How'd you find them?
Indeed.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you posted the job post on Indeed. And these people, how did you filter these people out to make sure that they were the right people for you?
Yeah, so we took them through, kind of the gauntlet that Todd Toback talks about, where, they have to follow instructions on how they apply for the job. Right. And then we actually asked for audio or video submission of them reading a script just so we can hear them.
Sure.
At the least. And then the next step is, schedule some time with me.
Yep.
And then we'll do a 2-day paid audition.
Oh.
We'll give them the script. We'll give them some training. The funny thing is, back in the day, I used to give them your training.
Of course.
Say, hey,
give them
because that was what I used to learn, right?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of their training. And then we let them dial for a day, 3 hours. They talked to me for a little bit beforehand. I listened to their first day overnight, and then I gave them some feedback day 2. Let them dial again a few more hours. Love and it. Then, if they've gotten better and they seem like they would be a good fit, we'll invite them on. But it also gives them a chance to see if it's a good fit for them. Right. Because there's people that'll get that first, go pound sand, and like, I'm done.
And that's a light response on some of it. I mean, some of them are brutal. Yeah, I get it. But it's really interesting because all of my callers are Americans living in Costa Rica. And you talk about the employee mindset. I've had the same callers for a couple of years now because there's literally no other jobs for them in Costa Rica, right? If you move to Costa Rica and you're not like already retired and independently wealthy, you got to work, but it's paradise. They want to stay there. They want to live there. It's very easy for them to go there from the United States. but there's not a lot of opportunities. It's a socialist country, right? So you have to find unique opportunities. So they have a couple options. Mm-hmm. They can either do customer service, which is just a nightmare, all over the phone in a call center, or they can make outbound calls for real estate investors, right? Real estate sourcing real estate opportunities. So I use the company called Motivated Sellers out there. Call motivatedsellers.com if you want to check them out. And they hook me in with these people, but it's the employee mindset. Mm-hmm. They show up, they put the hours in. If these people are in Phoenix, there's no way.
Right.
I'm telling you, I've had over 60 people that I've had in Phoenix come through over the last 6 years of doing this.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of energy.
Because they want to come in, they want to try it, but then it's just not, they're soft. Right. They're just it's not that they're soft because that's their personality. They're looking for a better opportunity. Mm-hmm. So
that makes sense. There's so much more opportunity out there.
Right.
And that gets me to my lead manager.
Yes.
Which is something that we've done. I originally wasn't a believer in this because I came up, through, Tom Prohl and yourself, where, hey, you go and you talk to a motivated seller, you're belly to belly and you're locking up the deal in person.
Yep.
But we had some good advice. I think the Swamleys, they were doing the virtual thing, even in their market. Mm-hmm. And our acquisition manager now, our lead manager, he was originally a prospector. He was the one in Mexico dialing into the U.S.
Yeah.
Former Marine, so he's able to connect with a lot of people.
Sure.
He was so good.
Disciplined.
And he was disciplined. He was, going after higher education. He got a master's, but it was something like online, right? Because he's in Mexico. And he was coachable. And so I saw that in him, and I, promoted him to the acquisition manager. And he's locking up, 2 contracts each and every week at a bare minimum, and we're doing good things with that. Like all he's doing is just following up. He's taking people through the script. At another level, he's having longer conversations with them. Yeah. And then he's sending offers.
How does this work? Let's look at this like a funnel or like a process map, right? So you get a list, right? So you get a list of distressed properties, whatever it is, right? Drive for dollars, tax default, pre-foreclosure, whatever. It's endless, right?
Right.
Code violations. You then take that list and you get the phone numbers, right? You skip trace them, right? Who do you use to skip trace?
We're using LexisNexis.
Okay, LexisNexis. So you have your own account. Awesome. So then it goes to your dialer, right? What dialer are you using?
So using Mojo.
Using Mojo Cells, okay. And then they make those calls. They're getting you've got people around the country making those calls. And then you get a lead, and that lead goes to...
Our leads then go into a group that stays in Mojo.
Okay.
So
I love it.
Our prospector is going through, if it's a lead, they group them as a lead. Wholesale, maybe yes. And they set a follow-up for my lead manager.
Okay.
So he comes in every day and he's just looking at the calendar and dialing through all the follow-ups.
Got it.
He is power dialing the follow-ups.
Got it.
So instead of like a typical process, prospector gets a lead, send it over to Podio, and somebody has to pick up and hand dial them.
Right.
They're instead grouping them in Mojo, setting a follow-up task for him. He gets to power dial that list straight out of the calendar in Mojo.
And your lead manager is located where?
In Mexico.
In Mexico. This is your guy. This is your acquisition manager.
This is my acquisition manager.
Okay, got it.
And so what I've done with them, I spent a lot of time with them. I've went over the map. I've shown them how to comp properties in multiple different ways, whether it's fix and flip, buy and hold. And he's just looking for like houses. And if he finds a comp, he takes $20K off of that, and that's his Mayo, and he's going to anchor lower than that.
What's Mayo?
Maximum allowable offer.
So MAO.
Yeah.
Right? Not
MAO,
there's not like a Y, right?
Okay.
So just to clear that up. So that's an interesting point, because in my business, it is very difficult to train people on valuations, right?
Yes.
It is. I mean, we anchor low, obviously, as much as possible, but once it gets into the nitty gritty, how did you train them on, and maybe people that are just starting out getting used to this? The toughest part when you start out is this deal or no deal? And then how big of a deal is it? Right?
That's absolutely the toughest part.
It is.
I mean, even for myself, when I was getting going.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing is that he was trainable. He was coachable. He was bright. He was.
So is this something that you do like online?
Right,
like
yes.
you're doing like a Zoom call and
sure.
you're sharing stuff?
So yes, sharing screen. So anytime he has a deal that he's iffy on, we'll hop on a screen share, and then we'll just look at the map on Zillow together.
Yep.
We'll click through properties and really try to find a similar comp property or a property that is similar to that. And so we're looking for another home with a similar square footage, similar age, structure that's sold as is. So whether it's sold, move-in ready as a rental, you can kind of get a feel from the pictures. Or if it's sold, as a fully renovated property, I'm gonna look in the price history and see what it sold at before that. And every property doesn't have that data, but you can kind of get a feel for kind of what was that sales price to the investor. And from that,
what are the buyers actually spending on these things?
Exactly.
Right?
That's all we're looking for. That's all we're concerned with. I'm not worried about repairs as much because it's a volume business. If we make offers where our maximum allowable offer is $20K less than what we think it would sell for, then we should win. If we do enough of that, there are offers that will stick. And, and that's our thing. We do it through DocuSign. The VA takes care of sending the offers. He just sets a task for them and he keeps on dialing.
Love it. So what I did with he was an acquisition manager. He's now my disposition manager. He sells them all, Billy Bell, is I would pull 10 addresses that were tough to comp, right? And I'd send it to him. And then I would comp them. And then he would comp them. And then we'd look at the notes and I tell him, this is why I think that this is the price, right? And this is why I think this is the price. So I did that week after week after week after week till he knew my brain. He knew the opportunity. Because sometimes comps aren't just what it is. Sometimes it's supply and demand in some areas. And you need to understand that, listen, I can lock this up higher because there's nothing nothing lower than this on the market. So people are going to go after it.
That's the type of thing. Like you said, it's trying to get your acquisition manager, your team member to think like you, to see it as you would. I mean, if that is your specialty, and that you bring up a great point. There's different factors. It's not always just the repair and the square footage. It may be the school zone, or it may be the seasonality, what point of the year it is.
Historic houses versus rate. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's so many things, and so it's just spending that time with them. I wasn't as structured as you.
I get it.
But we did it on a one-off, and we use a communication platform in our company, use Slack. And so anything he has a question for, every day we're looking at a property or so together. And I'm giving him some feedback. He's taking notes. And you just have to keep pouring into him. And that's why it's important to have an employee, somebody that's going to be here for the long haul. Because if I spent all that time with them and he's just going to turn around and jump ship next month, then I've lost.
100%.
So much time, and energy. So it was like you said, just pouring that time to help him see things as I would.
Well, I love it. He's in Mexico.
I know.
What is he going to do? Start his own company? You know what I mean? Like that's a huge thing. He's in Mexico. He wants to live there. That's the lifestyle he wants. But he wants to also work with you. You provide this perfect opportunity. He wants to do his best. He wants to keep this job. Because of the employee mindset.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's huge.
The coolest part, he's actually training our new hires now. He's listening to their calls.
Honestly, how much time do you spend in your wholesaling business?
These days,
a week.
Not much at all. Maybe 5 hours.
5 hours a week.
5 hours.
5 hours a week. And you're going to do over $1 million this year.
Yes, for sure. We're already close to 8.
That is what I'm telling. And not only that, you're really unique because now in Atlanta, you're like the hub of bringing all the best real estate investors together, right? Talk to me about your RIA. Talk about your meetup.
So REI Live Atlanta. We've actually kind of just kicked that off this year. It's been great events. We had great turnout. The whole focus is to bring a great quality speaker, a national coach, such as yourself, each every month. And it's just one meetup a month where we're looking to give people the members value, educate them, and instruct them how to act and make money in real estate. And so, this is the monthly meetup that we're doing, and people can check it out. If you go,
it's incredible. Honestly, if you're listening to this, watching this, if you're in Atlanta, how do people find out about it?
So go to IMB Barnes on Instagram or Facebook, and you'll see the link there.
IMB Barnes, right?
Yeah, and we'll probably have to put in the show notes.
Yeah.
Or hashtag REI Live Atlanta is a way that they can kind of see, we do all the posts with that same hashtag, so they'll see all the events that are coming up. But
I'm telling you, I'm here in Atlanta now,
right.
And we had the event last night. I can't tell you how many people came up and told me that they were doing deals. I mean, literally in the mix of doing deals. And, you go to some of these meetup groups or some of these real estate investor associations, and it's a lot of people that come around, but they're not doing deals. This is not that. This is like this group has an amazing energy to it. They're doing deals. They're extremely welcoming. So if you're in Atlanta, it is a must go to these meetings.
Yeah,
once a month.
You rocked it last night. We had a full capacity crowd. Over 150 people here last night. So, it's a great event. And again, I'm just trying to kind of give back the same way that you gave back to me.
Yeah.
So I can instruct other people how to make money in real estate.
Yeah. So tell people starting out, or they're doing a few deals, but they haven't taken that leap to where, they've got that 7-figure business. What changed? What evolution did you go through?
Yeah.
From the guy that was making $80,000 a year doing this to the guy making $1 million.
Right. Yeah. The biggest point, and I've said this a few times, like I had to fire myself. I had to get out of my own way. I think there's a great book called Fire Yourself. I think a guy talked about that. That was a book that I read around that period. And it was like, I just got to take the plunge and go on and get out of my own way.
Yeah.
Because once, I take myself out of the business so I can focus on it, then all the business operations they still need to be doing working without me.
Yep.
Because they're going to be getting done at a much heavier pace without me, because I'm going to be scattered in so many different directions. So firing myself as an acquisition manager, that was the biggest step, because then the follow. I tell you this, it was a good week back in this time, a year or two ago, if I made 10 offers in 1 week.
Right.
Our target is 50 each and every week. Like once we get that follow-up automated, like the deals are in the database. Everybody knows that. Once you get that automated, you should be able to take off.
Yep.
Honestly.
Well, it's building that momentum, but most importantly, it's building your lead pipeline to where now you get that consistency every single month that you're closing them, because timelines are different for everybody. That's why you got to pack it all in. Then also you have to remember, you have to see how many leads or offers you need to make to get a deal, because once you get that deal, it doesn't just replace one lead that you have. It replaces whatever it is. You need 20 leads to get a deal. You got to get 20 more leads to get another deal, right? It's not 1-to-1. It's like 1-to-20 or 50 or whatever it is. So it's just knowing your numbers there. So.
And look, I discount that. I always tell people about the acquisition manager part of following up, because I know that the leads are going to be there.
Yeah.
I like that's on autopilot. That's because of TTP.
Because
we have no issue generating leads because of your proven system. I just kind of take that, for granted almost.
Sure.
But if the viewers aren't talking to people on a regular basis, then you got to start.
Right.
Because that's just going to automate that lead generation. And then that follow-up is really where, I've really focused our attention. Following up and making offers, that's when we kind of took off, because once we put the TTP in place, everything else was gravy. So,
Number one guy here. Number one. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, as always. People reach out to you. Is it best through Instagram?
Yes. At IMB Barnes. That's the best way to find me.
Beautiful. Awesome. And if you guys are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, because you're going to go through dozens of testimonials. Nobody has more testimonials on success stories than TTP. If it feels good in your gut, then press a button, sign up for a call. It'll be the best call of the year for you. I look forward to working with you personally. And as always, I encourage everybody out there to talk to people. Till next time, guys. See ya.